where we left off?
Sure. So, what do I do for the Zeitgeist movement? I am part of the lecture team, which is international altogether, but really my scope is obviously the UK since I live there. And it started at Z-Day. I did a lecture on that started with Walter Benjamin and went all the way through people like Ray Kurzweil, and tried to kind of contextualize for people who are new to the movement what we're talking about and how to think about some of the problems, because it's not very easy to ditch absolutely everything that you've ever been told and have an open mind. I know it's very hard for me still now. I still constantly reevaluate everything that I think and everything I perceive just in the society around me. So it was really just a kind of an exercise in trying to contextualize why we're talking in certain ways and some of the broader issues. And then after that, we had enough interest, because I mean, we sold that event out. We had enough interest from people in the audience who invited us to do follow-ups, we did a talk on economics with Humanity Plus, who are the transhumanists in the UK, the people who are talking about the integration of the human with technology as we develop. And that was fairly interesting as well, because those guys, you don't have to tell them about technology. They know such a lot, and they're so broad in their knowledge. With them, the issue I think really was understanding the negative retroactions and side effects of the monetary system, which is probably the hardest thing to really understand. It's the one that people probably object to the most, because absolutely everyone does it. Everyone has money, and everyone I'd like to say that very few people understand how it works, but I've seen a massive shift, and I actually mentioned that in the lecture as well. I've seen a very big shift recently in people's attitude to a monetary system and to how it works, what's wrong. What is wrong? There is something massively wrong. And it appears not to be the fact that we voted for the wrong politician the last time there was an election. It appears not to be that, because we keep voting for different people, and they all seem to resemble each other anyway. And also they tend to not do what they said they would when they get into office, which a lot of people will say is because they're liars, and that's not true. There are lies told, but really politicians are forced to do what the job requires of them. And international geopolitical resource wrestling, or whatever the hell it is that they have to do, absolutely trumps anything they promised in order to get you to vote for them. And you have to understand that. They can be very good people. The two-headed politician we have right now in the UK are both decent guys. They're not, the great Satan or any of this stuff. But you will see over the coming months a very similar thing as with Barack Obama. These are decent guys, but it is not their job to make everything great for you. They can't do it. They can't. I mean, not only are they not technicians, they don't know they don't specialize in anything. But of course, at the same time, they're beholden either to the people who paid for their election process, or they are beholden to the events that unfold during, before, and after the election. So, I was basically trying to talk about that. I've lost my train of thought a little bit now, but basically that's it. I do the lecture team. I try and write as much as I can, and I present it in front of people. And at the moment I'm in the middle of, at the beginning of a 6-part lecture, a series of 6 lectures, each at least an hour in length, which tries to deal with the root causes of why the movement exists. So the first one I did was the monetary system. There's going to be another one soon on crime and punishment. It'll probably be a 2-parter, it'll be at least 2 hours, because those are huge, huge issues. There are a few others of us. There's a guy called Tom Williams who also he's actually doing a lecture in Eindhoven quite soon, and another chap, Andy Buxton, our man who does the 3D models of Jacques' cities and kind of allows you to have that immersive experience. He wants to do some talks as well, and I think he'll be really good at it as well, because he's got that kind of... We try, and our lecture team is very varied. There are a lot of very different people. So that's broadly speaking who we are and what I do.
Now, who do you give these lectures to, Ben?
Anyone who'll listen. Let's see. I've done 3. The first one was...
What's the context? How do you get them out there and deliver them? What do? You run an ad somewhere? Or
not yet.
Not
yet. But we probably will have to end up running adverts of some kind. The first one was Z-Day, which was advertised essentially for free. online, and it just was word of mouth. Interestingly enough, most of the people who came were not part of the movement, which I really liked. I liked the fact that there were people there just giving something a go that they weren't already familiar with. I think that's very brave, and I need to do a lot more of that as well. The second one was an invite by a guy who came to Z-Day who was more of a political kind of guy. He's looking at alternate ways of governing society or running society. They're all very difficult terms to put without it sounding like control. And he invited us along with members from the Green Party and a guy from Simpol, which is simultaneous policy, which was very interesting, and another guy called A World to Win. And we spoke in Friends' house, in the Friends Meeting House in Euston. So that was more of a political crowd. And then the third one we did was in front of the transhumanists, which was again an invite from Z-Day. Since then, however, it has been invites through the VenusProjectDesign.com site, which Andrew has put a lecture page up for. And we've also been we've taken over invites that have come through to the Venus Project, because obviously they're off doing their interviews all the time and their lectures all the time. So we have taken over, if you like, or been handed, I guess, some kind of meetings, some appointments, if you like, that have kind of come through generally to the movement, but have been close physically, geographically close to us. So that's roughly how it works at the moment. How do we go from there? Well, Facebook is an interesting way of kind of delivering these kinds of ideas, and also it'll be gradually things like the university lecture team, which is almost a parallel that kind of will essentially do a lecture circuit in a university, in various universities.
Fantastic. Just a last thought. What is your ideas to people out there who have learned enough about the Venus Project and are excited about getting these ideas to other people? What kind of ideas do you have for those individuals?
Sure. The first thing I can think of is get off the forums. It's great being on forums. Okay, fine. But right. You know what? Everyone who's there, most of the people who are there, are already in the movement. Your job, any job of anybody in the world, is to talk to other people, to talk to people who don't know this stuff yet. That doesn't mean getting out and handing out DVDs randomly to strangers. It means having level, friendly, intelligent conversations with them. It doesn't mean handing them another flyer, because that's what we already do. We already advertise all kinds of rubbish. It's really seek human interaction. Go out, chat to people, talk to your family if it's possible. I've talked to my family. A lot of them are very receptive. They're very open people. Talk to your friends. There is not a single friend who doesn't know what I do. Even talk to your colleagues if it works out. I've done that before as well. I'm not fanatical about it. So that's the first one, really. The second one, and it's probably the most important one, is that you will find with this kind of information, with this kind of lifestyle almost, it is extremely hard to function normally in society when you spend all your time basically advocating the exact opposite of everything that you do. And you have to find a healthy balance. It's not okay to go off the rails and burn out and negate your family and neglect your job and neglect general normal fun. Because it can feel wrong to just relax and have some fun when you spend all your time thinking what can feel to be quite negative. So the other one is to find that balance, to find a way to just live that healthy life. Make sure that you don't become fanatical, you don't become over obsessed about it, and that you just keep it in perspective. That's what I would say.